Well, hello and okay, there. Now I can hear myself. Hello, fellow adventurers. This is our first experiment in a live stream. Uh, we'll see if anybody pops up. This will be converted over to a regular video. I guess. I mean, like I said, we're experimenting. So even when I don't have something here, um, we're going to be covering a little something. I just got the new DMG, so we'll use that for our experiment. I'm only going to run for about 15 minutes. Oh, and I've got a counter on my deal here. All right, like I said, I've never tried this before. So we're going to see how it goes. See if I can talk nonstop for 15 minutes without umming and ahhing too much. But yeah, we'll see. I've been steadily getting better over the years at doing some ad libs. So, you know, it is what it is. So, the DMG, as I've heard it advertised, is kind of a world builder's guide now with a big magic section. Um, I've heard criticisms about it. We'll see. But for the most part, I think it's a big success. I think the whole 2024 rule set is a huge success. Dungeons and Dragons, as fun as it was back in the 80s and the 90s when I was, first getting into it, it's in a renaissance now. It is incredibly popular. And it's in a good place, I think. The only thing that it needs is more good DMs out there. And, well, I mean, this book is there to try to make that happen. Um, I'm going to literally go through this thing page by page because, well, I mean, in 15 minutes, we're not going to get very far. At this rate, we might not get past page one, but, you know. This is an experiment, so let's just do it. Uh, the first little section is just what does a DM do? And I think they hit it pretty well here. I have actually read through this part, um, kind of in preparation for this, kind of just because I wanted to open the book. I got 2 days ago. Oh, yesterday, one day. Um, the DM is an actor. He's a director. He's an improviser. Um, the actor and director, very basic. That's when you try to explain what D&D is. A very common way to do it is, adventure movies. Well, it's like an adventure movie. The DM's the one that creates the setting and the scene and the NPCs, and the players are the main characters. Hey, I've got somebody. Oh, I got 9 people. Holy cow! All right, stick around, guys. We're talking about the DMG. This is mostly a practice session for my first live stream to see if this is going to work. Um, we're talking about the first page. We're just getting into it. Things that a DM does. Now, one of those things is a referee. We all know that. He's a teacher. Um, he's a storyteller, and these are all the things that every DM needs to develop skills at. Hopefully, there'll be advice how to do that because sometimes being a manager is tough. Uh, Trying to get friends to work together and strangers sometimes easier, sometimes worse. Being a teacher, not easy either. Having the patience to explain complex rules to somebody that they might not be real open to it. Maybe they're coming from another game or have different concepts, and you know you're trying to impart knowledge, and you hope that you're right, and you hope that they're receptive. Um, the last one on here is most pertinent for us. World builder. That's what this station is about. Of course, now that I say that, we're back down to one person watching. So, hey, you, whoever you are, this station is primarily about world building. It's not necessarily hey, thanks for the like. It is not 100%. Um, and they're gone. Anyway, like I said, we're going to keep talking because we're going to post this thing. Uh, Station is about world building. It's not 100% just D&D. It applies to maybe you're a writer, maybe you play other games, maybe you just like world building for the fun of it. Now, there's plenty of people that like to make maps on Incarnate or just on a pencil and paper. So let's move on. Maybe we can actually get through page one in this first 15-minute segment. Uh, DM tips: embrace the shared story. That basically means it's not all about you. Now, there's different ways to do it. I'm very open, sandbox kind of world DM. I put things out there and see where the players want to go. Uh, Sometimes maybe a little too much. I think sometimes my players really just they feel a little lost. So that's is that on here? Not a competition. Be fair. Be flexible. Well, there's your flexible part. Not everybody's out for the same thing. Uh, you also have communicate with your players, and that's probably skill number one for being a DM. If you got a problem, don't be reactionary. Don't freak out. Um, don't don't overstep and get pushy and panic. And talk to the player. Talk to the person you're having a problem with. Even if you're not having a problem, think of things that might be a problem. Maybe listen to those train wreck videos that you see all the time, the horror stories of Reddit, and talk to your players about them and see if maybe there's something, even though you're not a huge problem, that you still have places that you can improve. Um, and the very last entry here, it's okay to make mistakes. As a DM, you're gonna make mistakes. I still make mistakes, and I've been doing this for a long time. Uh, that's part of communicating. You either make up for, your mistakes, level things out, or you just kind of go a different route, and it's okay. Um, if you forget about a particular, trick or trap in a dungeon, sometimes you just got to skip it. Uh, if you make a bad ruling, don't argue about it at the table because you want to keep things moving. Um, but let the players know that you can review it later, and maybe next session, it'll the correct ruling will come into play. And remember, the players aren't always right either, even if they have a lot of experience. We got this little box. What is new in the 2024 version? It says they have sound advice. They sound like me advertising stuff that may or may not be true. Um, it's got a bunch of tracking sheets. I'm really looking forward to looking at these. This is supposed to be a really big deal in the 2024 DMG, which is what we're talking about. I see we got somebody back in the channel. Um, hey, we have comments. Hey, thanks for the compliment on the beard. Roll 20. No, not roll 20. Don't watch it. And I got a thumbs up. So all from the same guy. Thank you very much. Um, for the three of you that are now watching, we're talking about the 2024 DMG. This is my first live stream, so it's also largely an experiment. We're going to go for about another 5-10 minutes. We're in this little box on page one. I may not finish page one, just to be honest, but encounter building assistance. I've heard bad things about this, that it's really not where it needs to be yet. To me, that's part of making mistakes. You try to get it as close as you can, and don't push it your first few sessions, and then just consistently try to improve your challenge to your players, not just in creature fights, but also in all the other encounters and difficulties that they can run into. Expanded and revised magic. It's nice. They pulled everything together. We have a new tome of magic. That's one of those things that you could just as easily put online for, it's going to be there anyway, but it's on paper, so good for us. We have a lore glossary. That is actually another complaint I've heard about the book, is that it's too focused on their existing world, but I don't know, man. I've been building in my own world for forever, so go with what you know, and that goes for the big boys too, even if you can hire a staff of dozens. And ready-made elements, which I presume is going to be encounters, and some dungeons. I'm pretty sure there's quite a bit of that kind of thing in here. Page two. Yep, we have 5 more minutes, so we're going to keep going. Um, Things you need to know. Rule books. Dungeon Master, you need this book. I hope you need it. New player, new DMs probably need it. Um, the 2014, the DMG is probably the least needed book out of all of them. But again, it is what it is. Hopefully, we have improvements. Um, the Dungeon Master, once again, goes back to what the DM is, and it tells you you're gonna need one for your table. So, job insurance for those of us who are DMs. Gives you a little rundown on how to find players. Uh, is it easier now than it used to be? I don't know. You have online routes to find players to fill tables. I did it at my local game shop, and that's where we usually play in a small city of North Bay. But there's hey, wait a minute. What is that? Hello, good morning. Hello, good morning to you too. And we got a sub. Hey, this is already paying off. Of course, I'm getting messages while it says I have 0 people watching, so I'm not sure how how that's working out. But anyway, um, a place to stay, a place to play. That makes much more sense. Yes, you definitely need a place to play. When I was in college, one of the things that when I was looking for a new apartment, that was qualification number one. It had to have a place that was conducive to playing Dungeons and Dragons. And we played some cards too, but mostly Dungeons and Dragons. Um, for the 2 people watching now, this is my first live stream, so this is a little bit of an experiment. We're talking about the 2024 DMG. We're only going to go for a few more minutes, partly because it's an experiment, partly because I don't think these should probably be too long anyway, but we'll see how things go in the future. Um, Page 2, finish it out. It does say that it's talking about dice. We know dice is one of the most important things about the game. You never have enough dice. Note-taking materials. Be prepared to be engaged. Come to the game with the idea that you are one of the most important people there. Everybody is one of the most important people at the table, but you've got to make that happen. You got to pay attention to really enjoy the whole experience. If you're a new player, listening is just as important as speaking, um, and that goes for the DM too. Let the players have their moments. That's very important. Don't interrupt role playing. Never interrupt role playing. Character sheets. Um, I'll be honest. Some of my character sheets are totally unofficial and pretty janky. Uh, I, I've I like to use the spell cards. I usually play spellcasting characters, and I end up with a lot of my character information on little cards as well instead of on a true character sheet. Do what works for you, but also take into account what works for the whole table. Sometimes the DM needs to know things, so it doesn't hurt to be in a pretty standard format. We've got another one of these purple boxes. Scheduling games. Oh, I wonder what they got to say here. Sometimes the hardest thing about running a game is finding time for everybody to play. Some groups play for a few hours every week, while others set aside a whole day once a month. Create a schedule that works for your whole group. You're never going to find something that works for your whole group. I'm sorry. Not every time. Uh, I run every other week, about 4 hours on a Saturday. Uh, Not everybody always makes it, but don't cancel your session. I've got 6 people. It's a big table. If 3 can make it, I'm probably running it. Uh, if people miss out on things, they fall a little behind, but I've got mechanics to make that work. Uh, Nobody stays behind, stays out of the loop. Now, obviously, the more you're there, the more you're involved in character arcs and such, but that's a personal choice for the players. Scheduling conflict, it's also a good reason not to get carried away too big of a table, especially for a new DM. If you've got 3 players, go. You're good. Um, Scheduling conflicts, sometimes inescapable, very true. And yeah, that's basically it. I'm not going to dive into the next page, which is actually page 7. We will save that for another time. Uh, for used a net on a zombie once. Nets are highly underrated, especially from the point of view of a DM. They're a great equalizer. Goblins with goblins with goblins with nets are hard to beat. All right, for the one guy that appears to be watching right now, we're done. This was my first live stream. It's purely an experiment. I hope you enjoyed it. For everybody else, I love you all very much. Have an excellent night, and I'll see you next time. Cheers. Uh, Now, there's probably a button here to push somewhere. Oh, hey, somebody's waving at me. Hey, appreciate you. You caught me right at the end. We will do this in the future. I have no idea what kind of schedule. Um, I don't know what to hit. All right. Well, I'm not going to hit that. That seems bad. There's a plus button here. Let's do it. See y'all later. Oh, no, that's not it. That's a poll. I don't want a poll. Okay, we're out of that. What does this button do? Chat, filter. No, don't want to do that. I know, this is high quality stuff. Maybe I just close it? Can I share it? Don't want to share it. What does that do? Highlight saved. Oh, that's awesome. All right, we're just going to close it. Hope I don't lose anything. Are you sure you want to stop streaming? I am.